Hello and welcome to my System Shock pipe and wrench guide. In this guide I'm going to be going over the wrench and the pipe, how much damage they deal to each enemy, like how many hits you need to hit each enemy and where you can hit them to deal increased damage, as well as basic tactics for fighting specific enemies. So the wrench and the pipe are starting weapons. You get them both in medical. This is the location of the wrench, and all you have to do to get there is solve this puzzle. So you spawn here, you kind of make your way out, you solve this puzzle, go down to their cycle room, drop down on the, use the ladder to drop down, and then you just follow this path and it'll take you to here. And this is the location of the wrench. Now if we go over the stats of each, you can see there is a starting damage and like a slash and an ending damage, as well as armor penetration, and the same is true for the wrench. And there's also an attack range. So the first damage value is how much damage you deal in a basic attack. So just like this, you just pull the trigger, assuming it's a controller, or left click. So that's 15 damage with 40% penetration. And then a charge attack does 25 and 50% penetration. So charge attack is when you hold it in and you deal full damage when it's fully drawn back. So that's very important because certain enemies will die with a charge attack followed by one or two basic slashes, or one or two basic whacks, I should say. So you can basically set up a kill with a charge attack around a corner and then hit a dude twice, 1 to 2 times, usually in the head, or in the case of repair bots, the blue part here that it actually explodes. That's actually their headshots section, but I think it does damage you doing that, so be aware of that. All right, and then the difference between the monkey wrench and the lead pipe is that the wrench has slightly less range, but it has slightly more damage. So you get 18 damage per hit and 30 damage per charge attack, but you do lose some range. So there's the difference between the two. They're very similar. Now, obviously, if you want slightly more damage or slightly more range, it's up to you. So let's actually get a visual for the range difference. Let's go like here, I want to say. So I'm just going to keep whacking until I can't hit this. Alright, so this is about the range of the wrench. Okay. So if we go back a little bit more, it seems like the range is kind of negligible, to be honest. Here's the range difference right here. Alright, so right here, this can hit and this cannot. But then how soon until this can? Yeah, it's a very slight difference. So the range is negligible. So honestly, I think the wrench is just straight up better. You might as well just use the wrench. But now let's go over enemies, tactics, and breakpoints for how many headshots or body shots you need per thing. And then I'm also going to factor in other things like the berserk patch. So alright, so let's jump into it. To begin, let's talk about if the wrench is really worth it, because I did some more testing and it seems like the breakpoints for getting kills, breakpoints meaning how many hits, headshots, body shots, charge attack, and so on, it requires to kill these starting enemies. It seems to be exactly the same, so you might as well just stick with the pipe because it just has slightly more range, and there seems to be no advantage, right, of using the wrench because the damage difference is so slight. You're talking about small points of damage, but it doesn't seem to allow you to kill enemies in fewer headshots and body shot combos. So, all right, to begin, let's talk about the repair bot. Now, the repair bot has a weak point on its back. It's this canister, and it has 2 attacks. When you're far away, it'll try to hit you with fire, which can be circle strafed. And then when you get close, it will switch to electricity. And it can't use electricity until it's done using fire. So you can basically get a free hit in when it's using fire by getting close. And the electricity has short range, but if you're close, it will always hit you. So as long as you just kind of bob and weave, you can basically just kill this thing for free, and you can take very little to no damage. Now, it's going to take you a few charged slashes, a few charged swipes to kill this thing. Generally, 2 charge attacks on the body and 2 basic attacks will kill it, or 3 charge attacks. Now, you can attack this canister and kill the bot by hitting the canister, but it will blow up and deal damage. And the corpses can also still explode. So you can see there it took some damage. Now this also damages enemies. So the best way to kill these, honestly, is to shoot them. shoot their canister, and if there's nearby enemies, you deal chip damage to them. Alternatively, you can kind of bob and weave, circle strafe the fire, and then whack, and then once it uses electricity, just back up. It's that easy. Here's a mutant whose AI I broke on accident, so I have a save file where I can just attack this mutant. So how many hits to kill this thing? So 2 fully charged headshots will kill. 3 normal hits to the head will kill as well. 4 fully charged torso or limb hits. And then if you want to kill him with normal attacks to the body, it just takes 6. So 6 hits to the body. So you want to learn how to fight mutants, huh? Alright, so I'm going to show you the easiest way to fight these things. Now, you can sprint in any direction. Why does that matter? It matters because it helps you with distancing. So if I'm already moving forward and I sprint, I gain speed. If I'm already moving backwards and I sprint, I gain speed. So what I can do when bobbing and weaving the mutant's attacks, the back sprint helps me get out of range faster. And you only hold it for like a second because you don't want to get too far away from it. So there's bob and weaving where you dodge an attack and then punish by hitting them in the head, and then there's also interruption. So I'll show both. So here's bobbing and weaving. He attacks, we move back. You can also hit him as he's coming towards you. You can let him come to you. You don't have to go to him. Just hit him in the head, punish his misses. That's one of the easiest ways. Now obviously if there's other enemies, it can be a little bit questionable to just kind of be standing around if there's dudes with guns. So, and also you shouldn't really be meleeing thing if there's dudes with guns around. But let's go over the interruption method now. Okay, so the interruption method is hitting them in the head, which interrupts any action they're doing. Now, if their attack is already out, like the hitbox of the attack is already out, you're going to take damage, right? Because you're going to be next to them. So what you want to do is hit them before they're attacking or as their attack is starting. So they require some timing, so get like a charge attack ready. So you can bob and weave the initial hit, and then just like punish their distance. So like, you know, bob and weave the first hit and then just like get in there and get the second hit. And the nice thing about this is you just use charge attacks, and you just smack them once, you just smack them 2 times. And depending on how good you get at this, you can take little to no damage from them just by smacking them in the head, and also conserve resources like energy and ammo. Let's talk about fighting serve bots. Now, serve bots, these dudes don't fight you, but serve bots are actually very easy to fight. All you have to do is just bait their attack and whack them. Their range isn't that good, and in some cases you can even like crouch their punch, which is kind of funny. So all it takes to kill these is 4 headshots or 2 charged headshots. Headshots do deal increased damage, so be aware of that. Their head hitbox is quite large and easy to hit, so these are probably one of the easier things you're going to be fighting. So you want to melee a cyborg drone, huh? This is probably not a good idea. You should honestly just shoot them, because it can be hard to close distance, but if you can close distance, headshotting them, or hitting them in the head will interrupt them, which can be useful. So basically what you want to do is 2 charged and 1 normal, and you can kind of get him with a sprint like that. That's how you kill them. Now, I did take a little bit of damage on the way in, but depending on how many enemies there are, if there's dudes on high ground and stuff like this, it can be a bad idea to go for like these melee kills. And you can bait them. So for example, he sees me, so he's going to be pursuing me now, so I can like get an attack ready, just like let him pursue me. And what you want is for them to be around the corner. You could also do 1 charge, 3 whacks. So as long as you bait their attack or wait until they attack, you can get in for free. However, there's this thing called the spark beam, and you can just use this on overload mode or whatever, and just one-shot them in the head. So a little bit safer to do that, but there's your tactics for dealing with these dudes. Talk about the laser turrets. So first you got to get its attention, and then you want it to chase you. You do not want to do this when there's enemies around, because they will shoot you. Like if you want to melee this thing, you're gonna have to bait it out. So it will attack, and then it'll eventually chase you, or at least it should be. So let's see if we can get it to chase us. You can circle strafe it, but you need to get it in a spot where you can close distance on it safely. All right, so it's pushing. This is kind of what you want. Now it'll land when it thinks it's done chasing you. So what do? Let it land. Bait its attack out. Hit it, and then just circle strafe it. So very similar to TF2 tactics, if you've ever played TF2, where you circle strafe a sentry. So you can kill it with melee, you just have to bait it out and then, you know, move around it while whacking it. It takes a minute, but you can get it done. Alright, so let's say you want to melee these dudes. It's not really a good idea to, but as long as the proxy mine isn't in the way, all you have to do is hit him in the head. Just keep hitting him in the head, and you're good. Now he dropped the proxy over there, so we're gonna ignore that. And then for the mantis dudes, dodge that if you can, and then just hit him in the head. And try to bait their attack. It's kind of hard to do because it comes out pretty far away. So you're usually better off not using melee on those. And you can, but it's not a good idea. Now these dudes, for some reason, they like chase you. I don't know why he had super speed. I think he was bugged, but if they don't chase you, as long as there's not a proximity mine out, you can just run up to them and smack them, but you're better off just headshotting them. And then with these dudes, I think you're better off just headshotting them. It doesn't take that many hits to kill either of them, but it's probably not worth it. And from this point on, the only things you should really be meleeing are enemies with like laser repair and using EMPs to open so they don't shoot you, or using like super speed patch, like the speed slow-mo bullet time patch. But outside of that, that's it for my basic wrench and pipe guide. So get out there and whack some cameras.